And even the current COVID-19 crisis in Brazil has not dented President Jair Bolsonaro's approval ratings. The president has faced intense criticism for rejecting social distancing and lockdowns to curb the pandemic. But surprisingly, his citizens still approve of his job performance. Respondent Paulo Cabra has more.
Cida Oliveira used to work as housemaid for an elderly couple, but after social distancing measures were put in place to fight COVID-19 in March, she lost her job and the salary she needed to make a living for herself and her 3 children. The monthly government emergency aid of R$600, about $107, was a lifeline for which she thanks President Jair Bolsonaro.
Ajudou bastante, sabe? Porque se não fosse isso,
it was a big help. If it was not for the emergency aid, we'll be desperate. And when somebody does something right, we have to recognize it and praise it. It's not all about criticizing. So when we have elections in the future, people have to recognize what Bolsonaro has done.
For many poor Brazilians, the government's emergency aid is actually more than their usual wages. For them, this money is a welcome relief to the economic crisis that was already here before the pandemic.
The aid, dubbed Corona Voucher, paid to more than 65 million people, has been largely credited by analysts for the significant increase in the president's approval rating, particularly among Brazil's poorest and in strongholds of former leftist President Lula da Silva. According to pollster Datafolha, Bolsonaro reached his highest rating since the beginning of his government, with 37% approval this month.
This is an important source of his support now, like it happened to Lula before. But it's a different situation, because in the case of Lula, it was a permanent program, that is Bolsa Família or family grant. And now what we have, it's an emergential support. And so we don't know if this kind of support will remain for the future.
But the São Paulo state deputy who supports Bolsonaro says Brazilians are now seeing the president was right to go against governors and the mayors who told people to stop working and stay home.
The COVID-19 pandemic was something that no one actually knew anything about, in Brazil or abroad. So, President Bolsonaro was right not to speed headlong into action, as most mayors and governors have done.
Bolsonaro was heavily criticized in Brazil and abroad for his opposition to social distancing measures to fight COVID-19 and his denial of the disease's severity. This latest survey, however, suggests maybe he was right, if not when it comes to public health, at least from the standpoint of political popularity.